So as I got older and started earning more money and then eventually got married, had kids, all these other things, I had to make bigger and bigger decisions. And they felt like they were coming a lot more often than what they used to. So one thing that I learned through working with a millionaire mentor of mine is that whenever you're doing, going through a process and having to make a big decision, we are 100% emotional decision makers. The question is, can you reduce the amount of emotion that you're feeling at a particular point in time? You could be angry, you could be sad, you could be happy, ecstatic. It could be a combination of all of those things, depending on what the scenario is. But emotions can cloud our judgment. We know this, that's not anything new. So, what you have to do is kind of take a step back and make sure that you are the one that is ultimately in control of them. Because even if it's a good decision that you're having to make, stress is very easy to creep in. Do I take this job back that's closer to a city in my family? Do I buy this house that I'm super excited about? Do I leave my job in order to pursue something new? Do I start that business? Whatever it is, like a lot of good things can still cause a lot of bad and negative emotions in us that can cloud our judgment. And a lot of times they can prohibit people from actually moving forward and making those decisions. Fear is a very real thing in these situations, and the anxiety and the stress of it can a lot of times just cause us to curl up and stay with what we're comfortable with. So this is the framework. It's 4 R's that kind of help me to start making better decisions, make less mistakes on things. And in my opinion, ultimately get a lot of the big decisions that I've had to make so far in my life more correct than wrong. So want to show this a little bit. So right here, this is how I make big decisions and reduce mistakes. Again, we are not talking about deciding. You do not use this framework when you are trying to decide what it is that you are going to eat for dinner. That is not what this is for. This is something for relatively life-changing. Maybe you're looking to make a big investment, whatever the case is. Use this to make sure that you're in the right emotional state for it. So the first one is rest. Rest is incredibly important. The majority of Americans in the world right now and is not getting enough sleep as it is. I know for me, when I was looking to make a career change, my wife she was pregnant, about to have twins. I was incredibly stressed. And she hadn't been feeling good. She had a very rough pregnancy. So she wasn't sleeping well. Therefore, I wasn't sleeping well. At the time, we had a 2-year-old. He was, a 2-year-old, just constantly awake, wearing us out, different things like that. And I had to look at changing careers, changing industries, a lot of big decisions that were coming up. And we were weeks away from having our twin daughters. So rest was something that I hadn't really experienced in months. Some could argue even years. And that was something that I could feel it. I could feel the fog. So what I did is I called up my parents and I told my wife, and I just said, listen, I need to get a full night's sleep. So I actually went and slept in a different room. So my wife wouldn't wake me up with the tossing and turning, all that other stuff. My parents came over. They helped take care of the kid, Drake, in the morning, my son, and then, helped take care of my wife. And I've, went to bed that night, had like a glass or two of wine and just made sure I had a nice meal, and there was nothing. And I slept the best I had slept in years. What that did is that just reset my serotonin levels, a lot of the brain chemistry that's going on. And I woke up and the sun was just a little bit brighter the next day. So rest is absolutely the foundation for this. You have to start with rest. The second one is you have to relax. So now you've woke up, you've had a great night's sleep. You slept like a baby, literally. Trust me, they can sleep really good sometimes when they are sleeping. So slept like a baby. You woke up, you're feeling really, really good. Now you have to carry that momentum and you need to go relax. So for me, starting off with a nice breakfast, I went straight for comfort food. I love French toast. Went somewhere to eat, got some French toast. It's a diner I really like. Some maple wood bacon, had some orange juice. It was a great morning. So started with that, went out, got a massage right after this. Just relieved a lot of tension that I had been feeling, muscles, body, mind, all of it, just kind of let it all go. And that was really huge for me. So just a lot of self-care that had been put off for really good reasons. There was a lot of stuff going on. My wife had it a lot worse physically than I did. So, we were focused on her care, but in order to make this decision regarding the job, I had to make this call. My wife was behind me no matter what I did. So got the massage, got done, all of that. By lunchtime, I was feeling good. Wasn't even that hungry. I had such a big breakfast, but I went out. I got another little something to eat, sub that I really like, turkey sub, nice and simple. And yeah, that was it. So I'm nice, I'm relaxed, and I'm in a good spot. The next one is you have to retreat. And retreating is really important because if you don't get away, if you try to make this big decision in a place that you normally are on an everyday basis, so if you're trying to make a job change, but you're still sitting at your job, you have a lot of what they call anchors there. You have strong emotional connections to that place. Even if you're unhappy with your job, it's like the saying goes, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. Well, a lot of times we can start to look at things. Maybe it's a relationship that you're considering getting out of. Maybe you're like, this person isn't the right person for me anymore. Well, it's hard to make that decision when they're just sitting there right next to you, because then you start to get breakup goggling. Oh, well, maybe they're not that bad. Or what if I can't find somebody new? Or what if the new person isn't as good and I missed out on this? And, all these things can start to happen. You have to remove yourself from these emotional anchors. So what I did is I actually left. I had told the family I was not coming back. Again, my wife is like 8 months pregnant with twins. Okay. So it's like, I couldn't just go off out of town. I had to be around. But what I did is I drove 45 minutes outside the city. I went to a natural park and I just hiked. And I just went out there, breathed the air, saw some alligators. I live in Florida, plenty of alligators. And some wild boar. And I just cleared my head. I got away from everything. And I took a pen and a notepad, and that was it. And I would just start writing down thoughts as they came to me. And that was it. I would just write down thoughts. And as I wrote down those thoughts, I kind of, I came up with a pros cons list. It wasn't as organized as a pros cons list, but I just started writing down like why I wasn't happy with the job that I had, why I had been thinking about making a career move, and, what the ups and downs of each side of it were. So that's what I ended up doing. The retreat is super important. If it's a super big decision, if you can get away from it for a night, that's great. Remove yourself from your usual environment. Our environment conditions us to feel a certain way. That can be a good or bad thing. But when it comes to making change, that's not helpful because it is creating a bias within us towards whatever the status quo is. And that is what we're trying to do. So retreat, get to a place for a few hours at minimum that is just completely outside your comfort zone, somewhere you've never gone. Okay. The last one is reframe. Now, this one is honestly a good practice for people to do in general. But when I say reframe, before I really start doing the hard thinking of should I take this job? Should I stay at my current job? Should I keep looking for a new one? Should I just let it go because we're having twins and we need stability and yada, yada? Before you do any of that, take a second, and as you're in this new environment, a place that you're not normally at, think about your life and count your blessings. And I do mean like literally count them. So start practicing extreme gratitude and contentment. And for me, I kind of just said a prayer and I was just like, God, thank you for all the things that I have. I was just very grateful. I had a healthy 3-year-old son. My daughters were coming a little early, but as far as we knew, everything was super healthy with them. Nothing terribly bad had happened at the time. My wife she was feeling terrible, but she was doing well. We weren't having any crazy risks that weren't manageable. I had a house that I lived in. I had a job. It wasn't like I didn't even have a job. I had a job. I was getting paid. I wasn't getting fired. I was doing great at that job. But I just didn't want to do it anymore. So that was, something that I practiced. It's like, man, I have all of my basic needs and more met. Thank you for all these blessings that I have. And when I started to really do that, the big thing that did for me is it allowed me to sit back and go, okay, you know what? This is not a life or death situation. This is not something that is going to just ruin me if I make a bad choice here. If I go and I decide to do this, I can get another job. I could probably even come back to my old job if I wanted to. So it's once I started doing that, I didn't feel as desperate. I started to be able to think clearly. Yes, my emotions were still there, And that's fine. You need to take stock of your emotions. But my emotions weren't driving me to make a decision one way or the other. There wasn't this desperation of, oh my gosh, I just have to get out because I can't stand this manager, yada, yada, yada. It wasn't anything like that. It was literally just, okay, I'm not happy at this job. Been doing it for a long time. Been doing really well. Honestly, I'm just kind of bored. Don't like the person I'm working for, yada, yada. And then it just became there's really not that much of a reason. This job is good upside. It's a good company. I know somebody there who's vouched for it. And, they said that they're doing well, and I respect their opinion. Let's do it. So I did. So that is how I go through and I make these big decisions. I walk through the 4 R's. I relax. I rest. I relax. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the R's in the order here. Sorry. So I rest, I relax, I retreat, and I reframe. You do those things, get a good night's sleep, wake up, do whatever you need to do to relax yourself, get away from everything, go somewhere that you're not normally into, and count your blessings. It sounds super simple, and it is. It is that simple. Just take a day. You don't need a ton of time for something like this. You will be surprised how when you clear all the noise and the buzz that's around you, how quickly the answer will actually come to you. A lot of times inside, we actually know what the right decision is, but because of all the external stimuli and the fact that we're not in a good headspace and whatever the case is, it just stresses us out that much more, and it makes the decision that much harder to get to. So once you peel away the distractions and once you get rid of all the stuff that really just isn't that important in the moment, and you give yourself a little bit of space, like I said, you'll be surprised how quickly you can make that decision. And the majority of the time, like I said, since I've taken on doing this practice, I haven't ran into one that I've regretted yet. Now, does that mean that I want to go back and I wouldn't ever change anything? No, not necessarily. But at the same time, I know what it was like when I was being super emotional about stuff, when I was desperate, when I felt like, oh, I have to get out of this situation. I have to make a decision now. And yada, yada. I did a lot of things that, guess what, we would call mistakes. And the goal is to not be perfect, have a perfect track record, but to make less of them. So hopefully this framework has helped you out. You can use the 4 R's in a way that will help you make better decisions. And until we talk again. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. Just so you know, I am doing a lot more posting on LinkedIn and YouTube. You can follow my content on there. Please be sure to check out my website, stephencourson.me. And what I am doing is sending out a newsletter every single Saturday that helps people reach their first $100,000 of net worth and then build up to $1 million quickly. So everything that comes out, it's a quick read Saturday mornings. You can normally read in 5 to 6 minutes. I might include a short YouTube video on there, but it's helping you build habits, learn how to make more money, whether you're working a 9 to 5 or starting a side hustle or you're an entrepreneur. And these are all principles that you can use in order to get to that first 100K quickly and then build up to $1 million. So check it out, subscribe to the newsletter, and until our paths cross again.